re-election as city controller, where he would be the favorite.
What about the Adams campaign? Any signs of weakness when it comes to fundraiser?
You know, as I said before, he's obviously had issues with his 2021 fundraising. We know there are multiple investigations. But that being said, the mayor had a really strong six months of fundraising, bringing in more than $1 million. So even though his challengers have brought in respectable sums in a short period of time, Adams is still far and away a leader on the fundraising front.
You know, we have 5 months left in this year. I'm curious as to what Bridget Bergen will be looking out for, what she'll be watching for going forward, because we're talking about 2025. It's not that far away, and plenty of people have already indicated they're interested in running for mayor.
Well, that's true. And so, you know, is there any fallout from these investigations? Does anything slow down the Adams campaign? Does anyone else jump in the race? We've heard some other names mentioned. Former Governor Andrew Cuomo, State Senator Jessica Ramos, former Council Speaker Christine Quinn. Or does anybody bow out of the race? And, you know, there's another filing deadline coming up in October. These candidates are going to be fundraising throughout the summer, but it's December when we find out how much they actually receive in public matching funds. That's going to be a crucial date.
WNYC's senior politics, Bridget Bergen, on it this morning. Once again, Bridget, thank you.
Thanks, Michael.
And remember, today is day 2 of the Republican National Convention. Since we're speaking of politics this morning, that's taking place in Milwaukee tonight. You can hear live special coverage at 9, the primetime speeches with NPR analysis. Tonight's coverage starts at 9 on WNYC, or live stream it at WNYC.org.
WNYC is supported by Plaza Jewish Community Chapel, owned and operated by the Jewish community, located at 91st Street in Amsterdam, offering a full range of funeral services, including arrangements in advance. More information at plazajewishcommunitychapel.org.
A heat advisory, and we're still in the middle of a heat wave. 80 and sunny right now. Today we have a slim chance of afternoon showers and thunderstorms. Might those cool us off? It'll be sunny and 96 and hot again tomorrow with a 50-50 chance of midday showers and storms. Yes, the heat wave looks like the fever will break on Thursday.
The economic leanings of the man who's just become Republican number 2.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by C3 Generative AI. Verified, traceable answers, secure, hallucination-free, LLM agnostic, IP liability-free. Learn more at c3.ai.
I'm David Brancaccio in New York. J.D. Vance, Ohio Senator, author, venture capitalist, and millennial, is now on the ticket with Donald Trump. Marketplace's Nancy Marshall-Genzer has more now on what voice Vance could offer on matters of economics, money, and markets.
Vance's economic views buck those of the traditional Republican establishment. He is a populist conservative. He supported higher tariffs on imports and lowering the value of the dollar to protect U.S. manufacturing. Vance has also shown up on union picket lines. Here he is last October visiting striking UAW workers in Toledo, Ohio, talking to local TV station WTVG.
And I've talked to some folks who are worried that every time they dare to speak up at their own place of business, the company threatens to move their job to Mexico. Like, what the hell is wrong with our country that when workers actually make their voices heard, we should threaten that we're going to move their job to Mexico? It's disgraceful.
Vance also led the opposition to the Ukraine aid package in the Senate. He said Ukraine should stop fighting Russia and negotiate a settlement instead because it would be impossible for it to reclaim the territory it's lost to Moscow. I'm Nancy Marshall-Genzer for Marketplace.
We will get the International Monetary Fund's latest outlook on the world economy just about 2 hours from now. The IMF will forecast global economic growth based on a variety of factors. Now, these include how political turmoil can drag down economies. The assassination attempt this weekend is, among other things, political turmoil. Marketplace's Savannah Marr reports.
This weekend's violence alone won't cast the U.S. as a risky place to do business. But Roger Baker with the geopolitical intelligence firm Stratfor says it's just the latest of several politically motivated attacks in recent years.
Really, it is the assessment that the U.S. democracy is now maybe not fundamentally broken, but certainly has significant rifts
that could shake investors' confidence. But the U.S. plays a powerful role in global supply chains and the international financial system, says Jacob Kierkegaard with the Peterson Institute for International Economics.
There is no replacement to the dollar.
And so,
you may not like what goes on in the United States, but you're kind of stuck with it.
Kierkegaard says global business leaders are keeping a careful eye on U.S. political turmoil, but the threshold for taking their business elsewhere is high. I'm Savannah Marr for Marketplace.
Bonds are up with the 10-year interest rate down at 4.18% now. Dow futures are down not much, 20 points. S&P futures up 0.1%. NASDAQ futures are up 0.2%. Some of the stocks that are moving on bets the candidacy of Donald Trump has gained energy given his defiant gesture at the Pennsylvania shooting and the beginning of the Republican convention. Stock in a video platform popular with conservatives went up 20% yesterday. Rumble is a rival to YouTube. Private prisons operators Geo Group and Core Civic each went up between 8 and 9%. The Trump social media company stock went up 31% yesterday, but is down about 9% pre-market now. And the following, not a stock, but a T-shirt, one with the photo of Trump pumping the fist after being grazed by the bullet, are roaring out of Amazon. The big one features an Associated Press photo to which the vendor reportedly does not have the rights. Separately, the Times of India reports a version went on sale in China via the shopping site Taobao within just hours of the shooting, in which one person died and 2 people in the crowd were seriously wounded.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by Schwab. With Schwab investing themes, people can invest in ideas they believe in, like artificial intelligence, renewable energy, pet passion, and more. Over 40 themes to choose from. More at schwab.com.
Now to the U.S. Secret Service and what they could have done to protect a former president and current candidate. As formal investigations get underway, my colleague Kimberly Adams looked at the funding and structure of this arm of law enforcement.
Over the weekend, members of Congress introduced new legislation to expand Secret Service protection for presidential candidates, and agency leadership says they'll cooperate with congressional investigations of Saturday's attack. The Secret Service actually has something of a dual mandate, says Richard Forno. He's the assistant director of the Center for Cybersecurity at the University of Maryland, Baltimore County.
Protecting the president is certainly their highest profile job.
In addition to the president, vice president, and their families, the service also protects former presidents, their families, high-ranking government officials, and foreign dignitaries.
But the Secret Service also has a long history in going after financial crimes, bank fraud, counterfeiting, credit card fraud, some cybersecurity-related things related to fraud.
Forno says since there are more of those crimes nowadays, the costs of those investigations have been going up, along with the size of the Secret Service's budget. Thomas Hyslop used to work for the Secret Service and now teaches in the Department of Criminology at the University of South Florida.
In the last 4 years, the protective budget has went up 20%, and the investigation budget has went up 12%. And a lot of that has to do with the increased threat level, large families, and then the amount of travel.
Hyslop says presidents and their families travel a lot more than they used to. Of the almost $3 billion President Biden has requested for the 2025 Secret Service budget, Hyslop says about $1.3 billion would go to protection and around $800 million for investigations. Last year, the agency got what it requested and more. But Hyslop anticipates all these congressional investigations may prompt a fresh look into what the Secret Service is doing versus what it should be doing.
Should the Secret Service continue this dual mission role, or can their investigative missions go to a different agency and let the Secret Service focus exclusively on protection?
The House Oversight Committee has asked the head of the Secret Service to come testify at a special hearing next week. In Washington, I'm Kimberly Adams for Marketplace.
For much of its history, the Secret Service is part of the U.S. Department of the Treasury, in part because of its former role in stopping counterfeiting of dollars. But since 2003, it is under the Department of Homeland Security. Our producers are James Graham, Naomi Rainey, Nick Perez, Ariana Rosas, Alex Schroeder, and Erica Soderstrom. Our senior producer is Meredith Garrettson-Morby. In New York, I'm David Brancaccio. It's the Marketplace Morning Report. APM, American Public Media.
WNYC